Oh goody, an ad. Yeah. Hey, you, Coco. Alright, so one of the things I want to do is hopefully make sure that my stream doesn't disconnect like it did yesterday. So I'm going to pause my video over here, and then, so that I can still watch what's going on, I'll use the iPad, I think. I don't know if that's a good idea either, actually. Oops. Hey, Metsuro, no, I didn't get your message, or at least I don't think I did. If it was on Twitch, then I'm just in the regular Twitch chat. I'm not in IRC. I should really get an IRC client. Alright, let me figure out how I'm supposed to watch myself on this iPad. I always forget. It should show me as online, and it doesn't. Go to my Twitch messages. I didn't even know Twitch had messages. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, let's see. Spam goes here, but some good messages might end up here too. Oh, whoa. I have 5 messages. Some from a long time ago. I didn't know about this. Okay, let me read your message. Hi, Iconic Ghost. Okay, Metsuro, that looks good. I will check it out sometime later, maybe over lunch, or maybe if we get done with all the stuff I want to do today. But I'll write this down here. Look at Metsuro's bot code. Okay. And then can I mark this as unread? I do not know. Also, I'll write that. I'll write that down here too. Read other Twitch messages. Okay, and then it's not quite 9 yet. I still want to figure out how I'm supposed to get to my own stream on this iPad. I was working yesterday. Oh, here we go. I just needed to refresh it. Oh, I see. All right. Then let's put this. I have the auto and the source quality settings. I guess I don't get the low quality and high quality and all that until later, so it's probably going to disconnect me anyway. Well, that's too bad. Oh well, I'll figure this out later. Let's just start. You Coco, since last stream, so Thursdays are not really a work day per se. It's meetings day. And I have to travel around a lot. There are at least 2 meetings planned on a Thursday. One is Spotland related and the other is not. And so you can see in this file I have this post-stream list that I want to do. Well, I mostly just take notes off of there. So actually one of the things I did yesterday, this is pretty interesting to me. I went to a lot of those sites that people were talking about, like S-Creeps, and I played this game. I tried, what is it? I think someone suggested Code Combat, and I played that game. And I looked at how this compares to what I'm going to be doing. Code Combat looked like it's a single-player game. It seems pretty polished and everything. S-Creeps is a multiplayer game, but it seems very focused on programmers are the ones to play it. In fact, one of the things I looked at while I was doing this is they have a lot of complex rules, I think. One of them was like, yeah, you have to buy CPU time. I don't want people to have to do that in Botland. These games are probably good. I only played them long enough to figure out what they're about. So let's start this. First, let's see where we left off. There's nothing to commit. Good. So I think we left off with chat stuff. So So let's start running some things. If I go to the central server, do I need that up? No, I just need the game server up. So let's do gulp watch on this, and then run. And then over here, we'll load up the client, gulp watch on this, and then run. So when we last left off, I believe that the way this was supposed to work is you load up the page, and then you should see some socket stuff happening in the background here. Yeah, so I emit just a test message, and then the server responds with it. So today, we are going to be working on chat. And hopefully by the end of today, we have a UI going where people can actually chat. Now, I did talk to my business partner, and I'll probably mention this again when I have more viewers, but I talked to my business partner about showing people a pre-alpha version of the game. For example, when I get chat working, could I show it to people? And he said, that's totally cool. We're all about the community. The one problem is I don't want to host it on my own machine. I don't want to be sharing out my IP address. I don't want people, hammering my own server while I'm trying to do development time. So I need to figure out how to avoid that. And I think the best way is to go with a platform like Amazon Web Services, and then that becomes an issue of I've never used AWS, so it's probably going to take a day or two to set that up. So maybe we'll do that next week. I don't know. Well, I'm not going to say a specific time because that's not a huge priority yet, especially since you guys can already chat with me in Twitch. So let's write down what it takes to make this work. First of all, do we have the game server project done? We do. So this is done. We will want this eventually. So let's move this up. Yeah, AWS has the free tier for a year, and one of the things I wanted to ask, because I researched this a lot actually, excuse me, when you're done with the free tier, it just switches you over to you're paying now for the cheapest stuff. I want to know approximately how much that costs per month, because what I was planning on doing is, if Botland takes a year and a half, let's say, then I was thinking, about half a year from now, I would have set up the AWS account. That way it carries me into roughly when launch is. But if I sign up relatively soon, then I'll need to start paying for at least half a year. Yeah, that's why I don't want to host on my computer, Coco. I don't want people knowing my IP address. And I have a server, like that's where botland.net is running, but this is not something that I can just run a node server on. And by the way, other things I did, I added links here, and then because I get sidetracked all the time, I added code to do this, which is totally silly. Alright, let's see. If you host on your computer, people find out you're I was hosting a TS server and I was paying like 5 cents a month for a TS server? Not TeamSpeak? Is that what you were hosting? Because that's reasonable. If I'm paying less than $10 a month for an AWS server, I'm pretty much fine with that. If that lets you guys play the game and do everything, then that's great. Alright, so yeah, I'll have to look into that at some point. Okay, so let's see. We have this. This already connects to the game server. We emit chat messages, so that's great. Now we need to work on the React part of this. So we need a name field and a button in React. And a connect button. So Mitsuru, I was looking into that, and I guess this isn't really worth totally spending a lot of time on, but you pay for everything that you use. So CPU time, I think, bandwidth, the data storage that you use. Heroku would work for free with the amount of traffic you would get. I'm going to write that down. That's something that's good to look into. I've heard of Heroku, I just haven't used it. And yeah, the traffic I would get for the pre-alpha stuff should be pretty minimal. I've taken a look at this, and this pricing page on every site. So, must sleep 6 hours in a 24-hour period. That's fine. Custom domains is fine. Yeah, okay. This should be good, hopefully. I mean, 512 megabytes of RAM might be not enough to host 2 servers at once. Maybe it will be. I don't know. Yeah, Coco, I mean, this is a personal thing. I want to avoid the community having to spend money on anything for me. So if we find free alternatives for things, that's great. But if it does come down to that there's no good free alternative, then yeah, I'll look into that. Like I said, I don't think paying even up to $10 a month for just pre-alpha stuff hosting is a bad idea. If I was paying like $100 a month, then that's a bad idea. Okay, so we're gonna make a name field and a connect button in React, and then a chat button area where. Yep. Okay. Cool. So let's start this. This is. Like I said, I'm relatively new to. Oh, nice. Thanks, Ragwolf. So I'm relatively new to React, so we are going to do just this exact thing, and I suppose I'll just draw kind of a picture of what I want this to look like. So type name here, and then there'd be a connect button. This would be its own field, and this, again, I'm not going to trust people to type their own name in the real game, but for now, this is just a good way to get things set up. So there's going to be something like this, and this will be the first screen, and then after this, we're going to switch to something where it's like a chat. And over here it's input message. And all this chat button will do is open the chat. Okay. Cool. So let's open up the client, and we're going to make a component for this. Now, each component does not need to connect to a store, so these will just be components. So let's copy paste this, I think, into its own file, and let me think about what this component would be. First, there's going to be the connect component, so let's make that. Connect, what do I want to call this? Connect to server. Yeah, we'll just do that. And we'll rename this to connect to server. And now we are going to do some very basic stuff here. Let's start with an input. This is all going to be on one div. So let's get rid of this. We're going to make an input. And just for the sake of testing this, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a test HTML folder. And we're going to save into here with index.html. And I made a snippet for this actually. So there we go, test HTML. And then let's make a main.js in the same folder, and I also wrote a snippet for this. So this will let us get up and running really quickly. So now if I just open this and paste this over to here, we now have $ is not defined. Okay, I need jQuery for this. There we go. There, so it says hello. We got this is like up and running in no time flat. So let's now try an input, and if I type hello, I've done all this before. I just want to make sure that, let's close these things. Yeah, cool. So the input doesn't actually contain hello, and I'm pretty sure there's an HTML thing for that. HTML input, what's it called? Placeholder text. I can put this here. Placeholder equals, yep, okay, cool. So placeholder equals, and then input is probably just a self-closing tag. Oh, it does not need to even be closed. Placeholder equals input name, let's say. So, cool. So you'll say something like Adam, and then there will be a connect button next to it. Yeah, this is literally all we want for this. So, and that looks good. Yukoko says, oh yeah, that's something I just realized. You have to make the game be easy to use both on PC and on the phone, so stuff like that chat button can't be in an inconvenient place. Yeah, we'll probably end up showing two different user interfaces. One for when you're specifically on a tablet or something that enables touch, and then one for when you don't have touch. For example, almost every other game where you can type, you either press T or enter, and the chat box pops up, you type what you want, and you press enter and it sends it. So then on desktop you wouldn't want a chat button. For now we don't care. We're just gonna put the chat button there anyway. Okay, so since this is so straightforward, let's put this right into here. We have a div, we have a connect button, and so now we export this. We want to put this into our view. So let's take a look at what we have in our containers. We have Botland app. Now, at first, we want the phaser component. We're just going to throw in the connect to server component for right now too. Adjacent JSX elements must be wrapped. So I guess let's just throw this into a span. Did that stop complaining at me? Yeah. Excuse me. All right, I gotta get some water. And let's move this just down to the render function. Okay. So if I'm right about this, this should just have put that stuff on the screen somewhere. I don't see it, so let's find out why that didn't happen. I should have a span and then I have two phaser components for some reason. Did I screw something up? Oh yeah, component slash phaser. This needs to be connected to server, and let's make it lowercase. Oh, it doesn't like that. I probably called it something else. No, what's it saying? Unterminated JSX contents while parsing file. Oh, there's a problem in here. I have... Oh, interesting. This is also not tabbed incorrectly. Not that that matters in JavaScript. Unterminated JSX contents. Is it that I need a slash input? I'm not totally sure what this is saying. So what happened? Yeah, I still have two phaser components. I guess it's because of line 18. It's this, slash div. Curious. Let's take a look at how we did this in the phaser component. Oops. Okay, Sublime, you have failed me. Did I... Okay, let's just open the file. Oh, I called it phaser, not component. Okay. So here I have the same setup. Alright, let's just put this in. That way we can test, see if this is working. We're going to say style equals... This is just going to be a blank div, really. And background red. Oh, right. Okay, so... Well, that's bizarre. How did this get here if... What? Yeah, they shouldn't be here. I just commented that out. Huh. This is only detecting changes to... No, it's not. It's detecting changes to everything. So if I save this, I should see something else appear here. And I actually don't. I wonder if I need to rerun this now that I've added a file. I don't know if Gulp Watch detects new files. Well, it must, because connect to server was found here. Still, this isn't triggering things when I change, so maybe I need to just fix my Gulp file. Nope, that just worked. Okay, so now I should see that red background on a div down here. This is a div with 200 pixels, height 100%, background red. Oh, its height is actually 0. Okay, that's fine. don't really care about that. This was just a test. So let's uncomment this now. And we should see... Good, we got our name and connect button here. Okay, cool. So now, when we actually input our name, so when we say name, first of all, when you press enter, we want it to hit connect. So let's hook that up. There's another Redux or React component that did this. It checked for an event code. What's the enter code? I think it's like 13 or, yeah, I think it's 13. Now to actually find this though is a good question. We should look into Redux, I think has this. They have examples here. And I think it's to do MVC. I wonder if I can run this. npm start. It might say that the port's in use. That's good, you Coco. Okay, this is apparently listening at 3000 now, which I don't believe because I'm already running something there. So let's just stop my server. And we will instead run this again. And now this should be a different page entirely. The whole reason I'm running this is just to make sure when I press enter it actually connects. So nice. Alright, so test, enter. Yeah, they set this up, so then us setting it up should be easy enough. Let's look at how they did things. We're going to open this and take a look at their components. They have a to-do text input. And the way that they structured this is literally just an input. And that's it. I don't know what onBlur is. I'll have to look that up at some point. Oh, autofocus is nice too. I'm going to put that in mind. So we just throw it at the side of this. Cool. So now if we were to rerun ours, we should have this get the focus automatically. Let's see if that happens. Yeah, it does. Cool. Cool. Next, we want to make it, when we press enter, it'll actually do something. So let's look at how they did it. They handle submit. Yeah. On key down, handle submit. Yep. onBlur is a callback that gets called when the input loses focus from the... Oh, cool. All right, thanks, Monatic. Oh, yeah. Also, thank you. I think Darkest Solid just whispered me, but I have to change the title to day 3. Cool. I don't know if that updates automatically for everybody. And in fact, I kind of want to check this. No, I don't think it does. Oh well, people will think I'm on day 2. I'm actually on day 3, everybody. Okay, we're going to use this function also. Let's put this in connect to server. And they structured this like this. I kind of like this setup, so let's do that same thing. And then we will similarly take their handle input function, handle submit. Format it how we like. Props.onSave. That should be a function that's passed in. Yep, it is. It's a function and it takes place when you hit the save. So we're going to need to do that same thing. But for now, let's not do that same thing. Let's just test to see if this alone works. You typed this.props.new to do. You type text. Okay. And then, oops, I didn't mean to do that. Darn it, now I lost the to-do app. That's fine. Alright. It broke in somewhere with... Why did it break in? Oh, that was strange. Okay, so when I say test and I hit enter, it says you typed test. That's exactly what we want. This is such basic programming, though. But now it's about to get a little bit more interesting, I think. So this is the enter key code. And actually, this is something that I'm pretty sure Phaser just gives me, the enter key code. Phaser.keyboard, key dot. There's some way to do this. I'll just look at a project where I already did it. It was in code, JavaScript, learning Phaser, source, and then input system. Yeah, so this is where phaser.keyboard.something. So let's just double check. Is phaser.keyboard.enter 13? It is. Okay, so we could use this. It's actually probably not a good idea to use that in React code in case we ever stop using Phaser. Let's just put this up here, I guess. Const enter key code equals 13. Okay. Now we want to pass in what happens when you actually press enter here, and what we want is for it to run the connect code. So let's write connect. This is going to take our input, the text value of our input. I think we could get our, so in jQuery what I would do is we want to connect to, well, we want to emit a message setting our name to the input. In jQuery, I would just select the input and then get it. I'm sure I could do something like that in React, but perhaps it's best, I think you can make, this is what refs are for. Let's look at React refs. More about refs. Oh, perfect. Reading things helps. The ref string. React supports a very special property that you can attach to any component that's output from render. This special property allows you to refer to it. It's guaranteed to be the proper instance at any point in time. So we just put a ref, and then we do this.refs.whatever. That is super easy and solves my problem, and I'm glad I read about this. So let's call this just the name input, and then we can do this.refs.name input. We don't need quotes, right? Yeah, this.refs.name input dot value dot trim. And let's again just log that down here. Okay. So now again, when you, oh whoops, that's not gonna, connect is never called. So I need to actually call connect. So we're gonna say button. We should just have an on-click function here. I think they capitalize it. I'll say this dot connect dot bind this. Yeah, and then let's put this over here. This might work. I'm not totally positive. So we type TTTT and hit connect, and it breaks. And it's because trim is not a thing. Hi, Drackman. This dot refs dot name input dot value. There's a value of. How do I just get the text of this? Interesting. Well, maybe they wrote that in here. You can access the component's DOM node directly by calling react.find DOM node. Oh, so I'm getting the React instance of it, which may not have the text value in there. I actually would kind of expect it to. Maybe it's a property of that? No. It's not. And it's, is it in this state? No. Okay, well, let's try this then. React dot, oh, can I not call React things? Oh, that's not good. Yeah, I don't seem to have access to React right here. I bet this is because it's really called some other stupid thing because I've transpiled to ES5. In which case this is going to become very, very hard to get. Oh well. So let's just not get it. Let's just write the code and see if it works. So var name input DOM equals this refs.name input. and then we're going to get the value of the name input DOM. This could work. Okay, so we should have seen it print my name a bunch of times. Well, my name, Y. Good. All right, that did work. So cool. So now we have our connect function. Now we want to call connect when we press enter here too. So we actually handle submit is just going to be connect. No, it's not. It's going to be, this is what we do. So we're going to say this dot connect. And we don't actually, hang on 1 second, chat. I am going to turn off my mic and video for a sec. I will be right. All right. So that was a semi-false alarm. My wife still has to get ready. All right. Sorry about that, chat. So we got this working. This should just call connect now when we press enter. So let's make sure that's working too. We'll refresh this page and just, again, type Adam, hit enter. Good, you typed Adam. When we press connect, it does the same thing. So now we need to make connect actually do something. And oh, Ukoko asks, are you making this in ES6 because when the game is released, ES6 will be supported in browsers? No, not really. Although that is the hope. I hope that this will just work natively because that would simplify so much of my build. Why I'm doing it in ES6 is because I think it provides enough nice features. So for more information, I used to be using the Google Closure Library, and the Google Closure Library has a few things that it does. It's got a closure compiler, which will actually do a little bit more than minify your code. It optimizes some parts of it, and it can do advanced compilation, which I never use. But it also has a system like this. You can say goog.provide botland dot client.bot or something like that, and that would be in file 1. And then file 2 could say, I want to use that, so you could specify this here. Well, one of the things, this is all sort of like method 1, use Google Closure Library, and method 2 is use ES6, which has built-in import bot from botland.client or whatever, client/bot.js. I like this a lot. One of the reasons I like this is because, as you can see up here in file 1, you had to determine what this namespace would be for everybody, and it actually polluted the global object. So now botland was actually window.botland would now be a thing. It exists. In this way, in ES6, you can import from something, and now the caller can decide what they want to call it. So I'm actually making use of this in, well, I think the connection manager. Yeah, so I have a constants file. I always want to refer to them as constants.something, so I can specify that. If this was the Google Closure way, I would have to have botland.shared.constants.something, and it makes the code a little bit more verbose. And by the way, this is just one thing of why I'm using ECMAScript 6. The other things are string interpolation, where I can do something like this, and then just put a name in here, and it'll interpolate it so that this gets replaced with name. This then becomes the equivalent of this. So it's simpler. It's simpler when you have more strings than just this. I could say, age in here too, and then I don't have to do something like this nonsense, which you have to do currently in ECMAScript 5. And then there are some other nice features like classes. There's a lot of syntactic sugar. Eventually there will be mocks and proxies, I think, and that's not a transpiled feature right now. I'll leave this file open for a little bit longer. Hang on a second. Are you ready to go? And also the microphone is on. Okay. All right. I will be back again. My wife is actually ready to go, so just give me a couple minutes. Okay, we're good to go. That's probably going to happen almost every day because my wife has to go to work. So hopefully it doesn't usually take longer than a few minutes. So we wanted to make the connect button actually do something now. So the React way of doing things is that you pass in handlers to where you want them. And then if you need to modify your state of more than just an individual component, you use something like Flux or Redux and you have a store. I don't have any state for this component. Iconic links. I don't have any state for this component other than just the chat messages that were typed, and they don't need to be put anywhere else in the app, I think. So we can ignore Redux for this and make just a dumb React component. And dumb component is not my terminology. It's the creator of React, creator of Redux, his terminology. So we don't need this. We don't need this. We do need to pass in a connect handler. And that means, and this is where, like, we're going to learn this together because I'm not totally sure what I'm doing here. Connect to server could pass in something like on connect equals, and then we pass in this dot connect dot find this. Let's just try this. I don't know if this is exactly what I want or not. Oh, I want to fix this. Okay, great. And let's fix this too while we're at it. Okay, good. And I think we can tap these in too. That looks a little bit nicer. Uh-oh. Did my stream just cut out? Okay. Oh, also, something else I forgot to do. I forgot to look at followers. Oh, man. All right, let's take a quick look here. Oh, okay. Chronic Links and Ragwolf. And, oh, man. All right, so first of all, thank you for following. Let me see if who's still in the chat right now because I am rewarding my followers. All right, let's do this. Token Ragwolf. Cool. This should work. Okay, nice. And then let's give a token to Chronic Links also. Now, if you guys have Whispers enabled, oh, and someone else followed me too just now. Void Spook. Oh, cool, Metsuro. Problem is, he has to be in the chat right now. Is he in the chat? Siege Games? No. Twitter handle for Botland? No, not yet. Simeon Army, I want to get more into social media, but I just started this on Wednesday, and honestly, what I expected this whole time, hi Void Spook, what I expected this whole time was, oh, this didn't work. I'd get 5 viewers and nobody cared, and that I'd have plenty of time to sort of build up the stream and work. I spent maybe 3 or 4 days preparing for the stream, which is why I have some of these programs, but I did not set up social media yet. I haven't done any of that. I don't think it's too late to do it or anything. By the way, you guys can see my lights changing in the background. When you follow me, that is what you get to do. So, have fun with that. It's always very colorful in here, that's for sure. And I do appreciate the follows, guys. Okay, we are going to get back to this. And like I said, this might work, this might not work. We're going to end up figuring this out together. So when I pass in a handler, let's take a look at my notes on React. So, React basics. We want to... Yeah, here we go. So we can pass something like that in. Those are considered props. So let's pass it in the props. On connect should be defined here. I'm just going to put a debugger here and we'll find out if it is. Because I'm not actually sure. Oh, I didn't make a connect function. Let's put that in too. Connect. Fill this in. Okay. You guys. Okay, so we should have this dot on connect, this dot props dot on connect. Nice, and it's a function, and if we call it, it has to do fill this in. That is great. That's exactly what we want. So let's make it actually get hooked up now. I believe we can. Let's do this. This dot props dot on connect name. And now in here, so you types name will go here, and then you are connecting with will go here. And let's run this. So now let's close all these things. Now when we type Adam, this should get, yep, cool. This gets pushed up a level now into our root component. Now, here's where things get interesting, because we need to get this to the point where we actually have socket.io. Let's see where that is right now. And to figure that out, I think we first just take a look at where Atom test is. And it is in main.js. So paradigmatic React and Redux is such that you'll pass in handlers for everything, just farther and farther down, which means that I could pass. Let's kind of figure this out. So, problem. Need to get connect to call into a function from main.js. Something along those lines, basically. That way, we can socket.emit connecting with chat name, something like that. So, main.js defines the root component, which is in client root.js. Yes, here. So main.js defines the root component. Root defines the botland app component. I think I capitalized that L. And then botland app actually has the, what's it called? Connect to server component, which has the button. So one way of solving this is pass the onConnect handler all the way from main.js to the connect to server. I don't think this is a good idea, because when we add more handlers, we'll have a mess of code. I think another way to do this is actually making use of Redux and state changes. So we could subscribe to an action that's getting called that changes the state of our app. I'm not sure the best way to do this. And I wrote some notes here, so I'm going to look through some of my notes. Because a lot of this is new to me. So I wrote here some things. We want to give it an action, actually use it. Let's take a look at how that to-do app works. And let's save this stuff over here. We'll get rid of this. And this might not be exactly what we want. Let's actually take a look at their, quote, real-world example. And I'll run this too. That way we can take a look at how this happens. So let's go into real world, and we will npm start this server, which means we need to stop my server. Also, at some point today, I wrote down some notes earlier. I want to install a logger. Yeah, actually that's it. Is a child component provoking behavior from a parent component or vice versa? So the way that this works, I'll kind of draw out a picture here. You have some root container, and then I have a component here, which is the connect, and then there's a name that goes here. So I'm gonna circle this in red. This is my connect to server. Connect to server. And I'll stop writing with the mouse. So when you press this button here, what's actually happening is I pass in a handler into my connect to server. So the connect button is just going to use a callback in the parent. So it's mostly the child invoking the parent, but the parent needed to know what the child's going to do. That way, and yes, I know there are a lot of notes. That way, connect to server could be used in a totally different place. Right now, all this is it's an input and a button. So we could use this anywhere as an input and a button and just pass in a new on connect, and it'll, I mean, we rename the button too, but we pass in a new on connect, and now we have a reusable component. So the point is, the parent definitely figures out what this should do, but how far up the chain do we go with that? Should my root component be coming up with what to do also? And by the way, if anyone's ever used React before, feel free to tell me what you think should happen here. Because I could pass in, I could do something like this. OnConnect equals the OnConnect that I passed in, this dot props dot OnConnect. And then we pass in that from main.js. And this is the client's main. So here we'd say onConnect equals, and let's define a function here, I guess. OnConnect test name console.log in OCT. Whoops. Hi, Chuckita. By the way, guys, let me know if I'm ever pronouncing your names wrong. Yeah, I've been working on the game, I would say, for the last 3 days, but I can see that there were some distractions. So, okay, this theoretically should work. I'm sure it won't when I actually get to testing it, because I always seem to have problems when I'm working on things the first time. Also, this is not my app. So what would be nice is stopping this and rerunning my app. So, yeah, this did not work how I expected it to. And let's see. So root has an onConnect, which we pass in here. What if we did this? What if in our constructor we had props, and then we said this dot super? Is that how this works? No, just super props, and we put a debugger here. Are we even getting the function? And by the way, I got one more follower, Kutskini. So let's set that up. There is a token for you. I don't know if this is going to work, and I'll check back in a bit. So let's see if that breaks into the debugger. It does. Good. Because it definitely should. But we have our onConnect function here, and when we try calling it, it does work. So then we pass that in. Let's go take a look at Botland app. And this lets me see how far down this is going. This should also have an onConnect function, and it doesn't. Interesting.